Hello members, welcome back to TradexBulls. Today we'll be looking at the charts of Nifty, Bank Nifty and some of the sectors along with a couple of stocks for short-term and medium-term view. Please note that all information provided is for educational purpose only and is not a buy-sell recommendation. Also join our Telegram channel TradexBulls if you haven't already done, the link for which is in the description box. We have a daily session where we interact with our members answering their queries. So without wasting more time, let's move on to the Nifty 50 chart. Nifty on Friday closed at 17,354. Like we've been watching, Nifty is making a lower high and a lower low sort of pattern right from October, and it was also falling in a downward parallel channel formation. So last week's close was very important, and it did give a pretty decent close, I would say. And for the time being, bulls, you could say, are back in the context. What Nifty has to do about this range is it has to break 17,600 for a confirmation that the structure will turn bullish. The structure is still sort of bearish because you can see that these are lower highs and lower lows which are being formed. It took support exactly from the support trend lines here and has given a sort of a breakout from the upper trend line. Okay, so a confirmation here would be when it breaks the previous swing high. So when it breaks 17,600, you will have a confluence of confirmation that Nifty is trying to change its structure. But again, at this point of time, from a positional point of view, it does not make sense to go long, because from here, this is a very important zone where your selling could again start. And last week, it is very important to note that the volumes were very, very low. So during an up move, when the volumes are low, you do not get that 100% confirmation. So the FIIs weren't very active. So the next week, the week coming ahead, will be very important to see which direction Nifty takes. But again, from here, if selling pressure starts, then we could see a very good down move again, which could again take you back to these old levels of 16,700. And then if that gets broken, down to 16,200. And then it would continue being in this particular channel. So time being, it is wait and watch till Nifty clears 17,600. And then we get a clear direction that an up move can begin from there. So that is Nifty in the daily time frame. Moving on to Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty is actually more weaker than Nifty given this point. You can see that there was a gap down Bank Nifty and then it was not able to sustain. It is consolidating at these levels. These are good support zones from where Bank Nifty sort of bounced, I would say, but it is still in this channel where it is not giving you a clear signs of any sort of momentum here in Bank Nifty. If we go to the lower time frames in to check in Bank Nifty, you can also see a small trend line being formed. It's still not the setup is still not confirmed because we would need a few more touches for the trend line, and then probably a break, another rejection from here and some consolidation, and then a break could give a good move up till 36,800 and then above to this levels of 37,600. So as of now, it is very, I wouldn't say it's strong. It is having less momentum at this point of time. But if Bank Nifty gains some momentum, then I think it could really push Nifty up sooner than what we think. So Bank Nifty and Nifty, this is the case when we look at the Cnx IT, a very important sector. Last time when we had this sectoral analysis, IT was somewhere around, let's go to the daily time frame. So this is the place which we were looking Cnx IT at. After the big up move, I think these were the positions where we were discussing IT. It was clearly said that this is going to be a major support, and like you could see, Fibonacci acted as support at that levels couple of times, and then it shot up from here. So it gave a small trend line breakout as well. And once it always any stock or any index, once it breaks the all-time high, it obviously gathers some more momentum. So it gave a break above this and then a gap up opening and then continued moving up. The time being, this could consolidate and give a retest and then continue to move up. But again, it would all depend on how IT and pharma are going to move forward. So you'll also have to always remember that whenever IT moves, Bank Nifty will underperform. Okay. And whenever Bank Nifty outperforms, IT will slightly underperform. So this is something that I have noticed in the past few sessions or few months. So you could always go back and check how Bank Nifty and IT sector are working in correlation. So that is with CNX IT, one of the stronger sectors now. Once it gave this all-time high move, but there could be some sort of consolidation, and then a gap could be filled, and then a retest, then could continue moving upwards. So IT is one. The next most important sector that we'll have to look given the COVID situation is Cnx Pharma. So Cnx Pharma here was completely moving in a sideways direction and then was pretty weak with absolutely no momentum here. But it kept taking this sort of, there was good demand here for pharma sector. I think even in the previous uh, sectoral analysis video, we informed that once it breaks this zone, this particular zone of 13,100 150 is going to act as a very, very important support, and that's exactly what it did. It bounced from here, again came back, another took a bounce, and the third time it bounced, it really moved up and gave a very, very solid move. So once I think pharma is at a good position now, could probably take a slight retrace that should be that can be used as a opportunity to buy, because pharma is going to stay for the next few months, right, with the COVID cases again rising. So it's a sector that you'll have to watch out. There are a lot of good stocks in this sector which you can look at buying at dips as well. So somewhere till this structure, and then it can continue moving up, but there's a lot of supply here. It has to clear that out for a huge up move. But I think we've the pharma sector, if you could see, it's given almost a 10% up move. If the sector is given a 10% up move, a lot of the stocks also in this sector would have given a good up move here. Apart from this, CNX Realty, I mean, Realty is a long-term, medium to long-term bet for us. So at short term, it is not doing much. It has come down to these levels which we had marked. It almost took support, a weekly support from here, and then continued to move up. So what you could say is any dip again, if pharma gives you a dip till this range, about 430 or even till 440 range, I mean, it's a very, very good chance to add, because the long term for the realty sector is really good. So there would be dips now if Nifty dips and if the COVID cases really rise, and if Nifty drops, then you would get good buying opportunities here. But I think from a short term, there is the structure is pretty clear. There is no strength here for a driving move. Again, this is just even in daily, it is just moving sideways and just trying to move up from this particular zone. So it has to clear this zone at the first. You could see that there are so many candles which are taking this supply from this particular zone. So we can extend. This is the zone which reality needs to absorb. So it needs to absorb this selling, and then probably if it continues up, then it could give a good up move of about 8 to 10%. So that's with reality. PSU banks, again, long-term story, but definitely it had a lot of potential after this breakout. Huge, very solid breakout, and then it did do a retest, but at the moment you could say there is nothing much to talk about here. Again, this is very, very similar to your Bank Nifty, a gap down, and then the gap acting as a resistance here. So if you can see this particular range, again, this is where it started, and this is the gap down. It's not able to clear that particular zone, so it has to break through this and then go here. Then again there will be supply. Probably it would start doing a lower high and a lower low sort of formation. Only when it breaks out and it takes this entire zone, we can expect some sort of up move in PSU banks. But if we look at this from a long-term perspective, I mean, there's really good potential here. After this inverse HNS breakout, it is almost near the retest zone. Okay, so once it retests, it could continue start moving up, and once these zones are cleared off, you could see clear targets of 3463. So this is not something which is going to come in the next 1 or 2 months, but it will take time. But it's a good opportunity for you to enter PSU banks when it gives a dip here till 2400 zone. Okay, so you would have a lot of PSU banks that you could look at: Federal Bank, Karnataka Bank, SBI, and if it gives some more dip, because that would give you the impetus for it to move really up. So these were the main sectors that we had to see. Auto, yes, auto is also doing fairly well, but again, with a lot of the December sales numbers not meeting up, I think auto will also take some sort of a gap here. Again, this was the all-time high breakout for auto sector. It did give a breakout, but then it fell and came back to its original demand zones here. So again, giving a similar lower high, lower low sort of pattern, which is similar to Nifty. So it's all in the same structure. One breaks and then everything follows. So for auto, I think this range has to be taken off. Okay, this is where it gave M sort of pattern breakdown as well. So this has to be taken off for any sort of strong momentum to be seen in auto sector. So this is the range again we will be watching out for auto sector. So once this is cleared, then we can expect some good up move in auto sector. Right. Now moving on to the two stocks which we would want to have it for short term. One is Rpp Infra Projects. We'll look at that from a weekly perspective. It's so from April 2020, it is forming it's taking a support here at the lower trend line. It's forming a sort of an ascending triangle pattern, you could say, or you could also term this as a cup and probably a handle, and it could also do one more cup before it breaks out, thereby having a VCP pair obstruction. But stock as such looks good because the volumes were pretty weak during the entire period, and then slowly starting to kick in during August, September, and then the RSI is also showing some sort of strength. So this is stock which you can watch probably if it gives a dip even till 60. Okay, so till 60 is a very, very good zone to buy. 58, 60. I think the view will be negated only below 52 closing, 51, 52 closing basis. So any dip till here, again, you can have it. Your first target would be, this is for a short to medium term holding. So it would take time, but it's a very, very a good prospect that you can hold. You will have your first targets around this region of 73, 74. And then once it breaks out, it probably does a retest. It has more to do about the 80 levels. So if there is volume kicking in, then you could see 74 levels pretty soon. Okay, or even if you get a dip till say about 59, 60, it's a good zone to buy and then hold it for the targets given here. So that is for Rpp Infra. One more stock that we want to discuss is Century Extrusions. Okay, this normally we don't suggest penny stocks, but this is forming a good pattern, especially we want to show it you in the monthly time frame. Okay, in a longer time frame, if you look at Century Extrusions, it is forming a very good pattern. So it started trading about 13 levels in 2005, and it's been range bound between 0 to 13 for about, you could say, 17, 18 odd years. So it gave a breakout here in 2007. It did not sustain and then came out, and then now it has started to make a higher high and a higher low structure. Even you could clearly see it made a higher high, then a high, again another high, and now it's made another high. So probably here, any dip, this is going to be the place where you could look to buy this, even if it dips without any worry. So till this range, about 10.4 or even till 11.3. Once it takes out this zone of 15 and 15.3, I mean, sky is the limit. It can easily even double from here. Okay, normally if you, as per theory, if you take the length of this is the target, it would give you a proper Darbox box breakout. And once it breaks out from that, your targets would be the length of this, which would mean that your targets can would be double in the long term. Have in mind, this is a monthly time frame, so it could take time, but these kind of stocks can really move quick when they have volumes picking in and some sort of news coming in. So you could see there are good volumes, which is very important for these kind of stocks. RSI is very positive, probably slightly higher, but that's very important when you know that you could also accumulate if there is any dip till 11.45 or 10.8, 10.6. View will be negated below about say 8 or 8.50. So these are good tips to buy. Probably the stock could again give us a small dip and then take off from here. So what it has been doing, it's been doing a higher low. So this is a very important zone for any dips to be added, and then it could take off from here. Right. So that's all for this particular session. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, and comment if you've enjoyed this video. Thank you.